What up, y'all? It's me again. No pun intended. Cause this video. I'm back on my YouTube video ish. Took a little break, but I'm back at it. You know me. With the boo boo content. You know what I'm saying? Demetrius, boo boo, Andrade content. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fan, obviously. You know what I'm saying? As well as the boxing game. There's a lot of good boxers out there, but one of the ones that stands out to me is Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't know what I'm gonna title this video. I think I might call it something like "Where's Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade?" You know what I'm saying? But the game's been missing. The fans is ready to see him fight again. We already know the logistics with the David Benavidez fight, the politics behind it, the catch weight bullish. I call it a catch weight because it's like, but really it's on some like, it was on some like weight bully ish. You know what I'm saying? I remember back in the day. I don't know how. I'm a little older cat, you know what I'm saying? So I remember back in the day when HBO Boxing, shout out to HBO Boxing, I don't think they have that no more, but I remember when they used to show people, the fighters, they used to show the fans, the fighters' weight the day of the fight. They don't do that no more because, you know why? Because the fans will be disgusted. The fans will be disgusted knowing that, David Benavidez probably tipped the scale like, no word of a lie, like 205 maybe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that might seem like a stretch, but it might not be. You know what I'm saying? You campaigning at 168. Well, was campaigning at 168, and then you come in close to 200 or a little over it is disgusting. It's nasty work, as they would say, right? I'm gonna try to keep this video under 5 minutes as best as I can, but it might go a little longer. But anyway, because if you had those fighters, you know what I'm saying, Demetrius Andrade and David Benavidez fight at an even playing field, right? And what I mean by even playing field is like, there should have been like a catch weight clause, not what do they call it? A weight clause in the contract where the fighters could only come in at a certain amount. I think Caleb Plant had that. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I don't know that for a fact, but it's given that because the way you see David Benavidez' body type in the Caleb fight, you could tell there would more than likely was a weight clause, you know what I'm saying, in the contract that he couldn't come in too heavy, which is very smart. Caleb Plant used his A-side privilege very well in that fight. And he lasted 12 rounds, you know what I'm saying? He gave it a good fight, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the fans is ready to see Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade back in the game, back in the ring, with a good opponent, somebody that'll let people know, he's back, Edgar Berlanga's a good fight, I feel like, I don't know, maybe Demetrius Andrade's approach in getting these fights should be different. I don't know. I feel like he don't have, because at the end of the day, the only way you're gonna get these fighters to fight you is by offering them a big bag. You know what I'm saying? Because what's the name of that dude that's fighting Conor Ben? I forget his name. The other British dude. Um, I don't think he wants to fight Conor Ben. You know what I'm saying? But um, he's getting, Eddie Hearn or whoever's giving him a big bag, or Chris Eubank, is that his name? They giving him a bag. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody in their right mind, will stay clear of Conor Ben right now. The dude is a problem, and I don't mean necessarily a problem like skill wise, even though he's nice, but I think he tested positive for some sort of banned substance. So any fighter that tested positive for banned substance, like like cocaine, like David Benavidez or something, like them dudes is sketchy. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that put that type of drugs in their system, should be banned from the boxing game. Period. But that's a topic for another day. But yeah, I'm gonna try to keep this video under 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the fans is wanting to see Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade back in the game. You know what I'm saying? We need the old Boo Boo back. You know what I'm saying? That uses the full ring. He didn't get to fight. He didn't really get to fight his fight against David Benavidez because the ring was smaller. We need to see Boo Boo in a regular full-size ring where he could dance around his opponent. In order to do that for 12 rounds, he need to be running, you know what I'm saying, and get his stamina tip-top shape, you know what I'm saying? Be running 5-10 miles every other day, and this needs to be like a spiritual journey for him, you know what I'm saying? This next fight, because I see him having many more years in the game, depending how he plays it. When I see him calling out big names, and this is just me keeping it 100. When I see him calling out big names, it's given, he wants to cash out. You know what I'm saying? He wants to fight these big names, because he knows his name still holds value. So you want to get these big name fights. But if you're not winning these big name fights, they're cash out fights because the fans ain't going to keep tuning in to see you lose, right? That's just me keeping it 100. Because I love the dude, you know what I'm saying? I think he's a great fighter. But I want to see him fight like these fights that ain't got to be a big name, but just kind of like shake the ring rust off or whatever, Because I feel like he could be on top, like tippity top, like Terrence Crawford status, you know what I'm saying? But he just got to play his cards right, treat this boxing game like a chess game, So Edgar Berlanga will be perfect, you know what I'm saying? He just knocked out a dude. Edgar Berlanga, you need to stop fighting these weak opponents, man. Fight Boo Boo, man. Stop being scared. So, yeah, I think I might change this name of the video to Edgar Berlanga is scared to fight Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. But it's all about politics. So somehow, some way, I know this is crazy coming out my mouth, but maybe Boo Boo needs to reconcile with Eddie Hearn or something, just for business purpose. Something got to give, He needs a political advantage, in getting these fighters to fight him. He needs some political power. He don't have no political power right now, so he needs to partner up with somebody that they're probably gonna want a decent percentage, but fuck it, you know what I'm saying? Give it to them. But the fans want to see Boo Boo fight again. I don't want him to take these 2-year layoffs. You know, I understand, he got things going on in his life that he needs to attend to. Maybe boxing's not a priority. But last time I checked, boxing is his bread and butter. Dunkin' Donuts, sponsor your boy. But yeah, the fans want to see Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade back in the game, back fighting. I don't see too many content creators making videos about Boo Boo because they be deriding these other fighters that get a lot of views off of the algorithm. But I'm doing this for the boxing culture. There's boxing purist fans that checking for Boo Boo. You know what I'm saying? Like myself, that dude is special. You know what I'm saying? He just needs the right opponent to allow him to showcase his skills. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's it. I'm gonna wrap up this video. Hopefully 2025, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, will be back in action, man, and I'll be there, front row, your boy. Peace.